listening to Saturday Slow Jams with me, Chorus Nylander. That was If I Lose You Now by Jeri Lynne, featuring Eric Marienthal. If you haven't got your tickets already, make sure to go to Spaghettini Grill and Jazz Club tonight, because Eric's going to be throwing on a great show there. And you know me and Jeri Lynne are going to be over there. That's a great show. We love Eric.
Absolutely.
And I'm lucky right now because Jeri Lynne is live in the studio here with me, and she's going to treat us to a live performance. What song are you going to play for us right now, Jeri?
I'm going to do the title cut from the new CD, Just For You, the George Duke song, which is also the title of the album.
That's great. I can't wait to hear it. Take it away, Jeri.
Thank you. You are my life. Everybody knows how I feel about you. I love your smile and your soft caress. My love for you shines brightly, I must confess that you are my life. I want us to be like a dream that's come true. To grow in special ways. Our hopes and our visions, yes, to be the same. I love you. Just for you. This is just for you. Only you. I love you. Give love a try, let's start the show. Open your heart and let love flow. Give me your hand, let me know that you are my life. Everything I do, I am thinking of you. I'm willing to try if you're willing to care. Love is a joy and pain of two that share.
Wow, that was absolutely flawless. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Saturday Slow Jams with me, Chorus Nylander. We were just graced by a live performance of the song Just For You by Jeri Lynne, who's live in the studio. Jeri, wow, that was just amazing. Tell us the story behind that song.
Oh, well, the story behind that song, the first time I ever saw George Duke, it was the first song I ever heard him sing. I knew of him as an instrumentalist, but I'd never heard him sing before. And when I heard that song, I was knocked out. And when we were recording this album, Eric Marienthal and I were working on the last song, that the song you open with today, If I Lose You Now. And we were sitting there talking about George, and it was August the 5th. And we had no idea at the time he was actually already gone, but we were talking about him, and Eric was talking about the last time he'd worked with him at the NAMM show, and I had seen him the summer before. So we finished up our session, and I got in my car. I went to drive home, and something told me to take a little drive to the beach. So I went to the beach, and I passed the venue where I'd worked with George. Where I worked. I wish I didn't work with him. I went to see him in Al Jarreau that night. But I took a walk around there, and I just felt the presence of George in that space. And it was very peaceful. And I drove home to the desert where I live in the Palm Springs area. And the next morning, I got the news that he had passed. And I went into my studio, and that was the song that came to mind to do. And so that night I went into the studio and recorded that, just with piano and voice. And I thought I was done with the record, and then I thought when that happened, I just thought I'm going to close this record with that. So that's what we ended up doing. We used that for the final song, and that also sparked me to want to make this a tribute to George. So that's how that came about.
That's very kind of you. It's such a sad loss to the music industry, losing the great George Duke.
Huge. George Duke was an amazing, amazing man.
And I know me and all other fans and music lovers just very appreciative of you doing a tribute album to him.
Oh.
And doing it so well, because that was just amazing.
Thank you. That's a tough one for me to sing live without breaking down. So,
well, it sounded so good. I'd love to.
Thank you.
We just can't stop there. I have to hear you perform something else live. How about you have a song called "Let Love" from your album Soul Prayer?
Yes.
Can we hear that one?
This is from my Soul Prayer album that I did before this one.
So let's hear "Let Love." Take it away, Jeri, right here on Saturday Slow Jams with me, Chorus Nylander, taking you up till 2:30.
Don't ask me to stay when you want me to leave. I'm already wearing my heart on my sleeve. Done all the tap dancing I can do for one day. And here I am wandering, pacing the floor. You stay for a while and you head for the door. Your message is mixed. Tell me, what is it you're waiting for? Just let promises. Love doesn't make guarantees. Love didn't make me your enemy. Only love can set you free.
That is absolutely beautiful. That was Let Love by Jeri Lynne live in our studio. If you're just tuning in, this is Saturday Slow Jams with me, Chorus Nylander. Thanks so much for that song, Jeri. That is absolutely beautiful. It's very romantic, too. Does love play a big role in your music when you're writing it?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was from the album Soul Prayer. Could you tell us the story behind that project in your career?
Yes, Soul Prayer was a long time in the making. It was a work of, I call them healing songs. They're almost like prayers to me. You know, they came to me at a time when I was going through some healing issues, and they were very precious to me, and I never played them for anyone, and I would just occasionally slip one into one of my live shows, but I wasn't quite ready to let my children out, so to speak. And then I met a producer named Migueli from Los Angeles who heard these songs, and he said, "What are you doing sitting on these?" And then he said he wanted to have a chance to orchestrate them and do something with them. So, and actually what it started that conversation was, we're both huge Joni Mitchell lovers, and I sent him my cover of the Joni Mitchell song that I did on this record. And that's actually what started the conversation. And then he said, "What else have you got?" And then I one at a time, I slid another song his way for him to hear, and he loved them. And so we began a collaboration, and he orchestrated them fully with, cellos and strings and acoustic guitars and percussion, and we just kept it real organic. We didn't want anything overproduced, and everything was just it was just perfect. The work he did was beautiful, and I think it was a really great collaboration. And
the song you just played just sounds so beautiful. It's so smooth. You're very unique. It's a very soothing voice. It goes very well with your amazing keyboard playing also, because you are playing the keyboards on there. Mm-hmm. Who needs a band when you have Jeri Lynne and a piano?
Well, it depends on the song.
It's all you need, in my opinion. It's beautiful work. Can we hear another song live?
How about I do a little bit of that Joni Mitchell? Would that be all right?
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Let's hear that.
This is the one that got his attention. This is called Rainy Night House.
right here on Saturday Slow Jams on Urban Soul Radio. Here's Jeri Lynne. Take it away.
Now, I may not do the whole thing. Let's give you what I got, though. It was a rainy night. We took a taxi to your mother's home. She went to Florida, left you with your father's gun alone. Upon her small white bed, I fell into a dream. You stayed up all the night and watched me to see who in the world I might be. I'm from the Sunday school. I sing soprano in the upstairs choir. This is where the choir comes in chorus. You are a holy man on the FM radio. I sat up all the night and watched me to see who in the world you and so on and so on. That's the song that introduced us to each other, though. Short version.
Well, it sounds absolutely amazing. Everything you touch, I say, turns to gold. At least how
Wow,
I hear it. It's
thank
just such
you.
amazing music. And what really fascinates me about you is you've been in the music industry for over 40 years. That's really amazing. Most artists don't get to make it to that point. So you've seen a lot in the music industry, I'm sure.
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of change in that time, and yeah, it's been quite an education.
So what would you say your favorite of all those 40 years, your favorite moment was?
Oh gosh, wow. There's far too many, but I have a couple of my favorites. One of my favorite experiences was actually with when I was touring with Stacey Q. We did a show at Madison Square Garden for the Atlantic Records 40th birthday party.
Oh, wow.
And it was, if you can imagine, everybody that was on Atlantic Records at the time. You know, we're talking about people like Peebo Bryce and Roberta Flack, Average White Band,
making me
Aretha
jealous.
Franklin. Stacey was on Atlantic at the time. Wilson Pickett, you know, the greats. And we did, and it was a taping for HBO. And the grand finale was the reunion of Led Zeppelin.
Oh, wow, that must have been
Now, how cool
amazing.
is that? But there I was with my camera running around backstage like just a kid in a candy store going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And, you know, meeting Roberta Flack and Peebo Bryson. And I accidentally went into the dressing room of Average White Band and saw men in skirts. Thought, whoops, pardon me. But meeting Robert Plant.
Wow.
And wow, I mean, because I went to the green room several times just to just to see who I could see.
I hope you brought all your album covers and Sharpies with you.
Well, you know, back at the time, I was just, you know, we're talking a long time ago here, so I was, you know, I was a backup. I hadn't done any solo artist work at the time, but to me, all those people in under the same roof was like amazing.
I could imagine that.
Just amazing, and of course, Paul Schaefer, you know, was the MD, and it was his band that backed everybody up. And I watched I watched that man like a hawk. I mean, he's the biz. He is the biz. He backed up everybody. So I learned a lot on that job, because I am now a musical director myself, and so I equate what I saw with him to be kind of an education for me as well.
You get to learn from the greatest.
From the greatest.
And you've done background work for like a who's who in the music industry.
A lot of people, yeah.
I know it's probably too many to list, but just name off some of the names of people you really liked working with.
Well, my most fun job probably ever was the Righteous Brothers. I was with them for 14 years, playing keyboards and singing. And some of my other, and my other favorite moment I was going to mention to you was Jeff Bridges, with Michael McDonald. I got to do Jeff's first solo album called Be Here Soon. And I got to sing background with Michael and his wife, Amy.
Wow.
And it was the three of us, and it was you hear that voice when you hear Michael's recordings, and it's so stunning as it is. But when you stand right next to the man and you hear that sound live in the room and in your face, it's like,
must be intimidating too.
Wow. I wouldn't say it was intimidating. It was magical. Because he's so gifted, and you don't realize how high he's singing because of the tonality of his voice being a kind of back tone. But he's so gifted, and he's such a great human being, just such a great human being. So that was a treat.
His wife Amy Holland too. She's a real good singer herself.
She's wonderful. We had a really good we had a good sound together. It was very cool, and of course working with Jeff was very special. Being a huge, Jeff Bridges fan of every movie he ever made. So, but yeah, that's probably one of my more fun ones. But I've been so blessed to work with so many great people, and they're all great experiences. They've all been wonderful experiences. So,
and I mean, the Righteous Brothers for 14 years. How'd you get with them? How'd that start?
It's actually kind of a funny story. Bill Medley had a club in Orange County called Medley's for many years, and I worked in a house band there. And so Bill and Bob would both come in, and they'd sit in with our band, or they'd sit out in the audience and listen. And so that's how I met them. And then one night, I guess Bobby had a Chicago blues band working there, and the light person couldn't make it. I said, "I'll do it." I had no idea what I was doing. all I remember is that I had to climb up this ladder and up into this little pit where there was cobwebs and spiders and stuff with that spotlight, and follow Bobby wherever he went. And then I'm sure I was hideous, but in a pinch. But later that night I said, "Someday I hope you'll hire me doing what I really do." And that's how that started. And I actually started singing with Bobby first in his band, because they were both doing solo things at the time. And then I went out on the road with Bill to Memphis. He had a country gospel kind of thing, and I went and worked with him. And when I got back, they had reunited, because they'd been together and apart several times, But this time it was a great time for them, and it was right before Ghost and right before Dirty Dancing and all that, and so. It was 80s. And
such a great time in music.
It was a great time, 80s, and then into the 90s. So yeah, that's how I started with them. But
and as we mentioned, the 80s, you were doing a lot of stuff. I mean, background work for, as you talked about, Stacy Q, who me and you
Stacy Q,
both love her.
The Jets, and a lot of those groups. Yeah.
So how'd you first meet Stacy?
I met Stacy. I was working at a studio called Formula One in, was it La Habra?
I think it was in Whittier. It's right next to La Habra.
It's right on the border there, yeah. And I was working with John St. James, a great producer at Formula One, and he was producing Stacy at the time. And he asked me if I would come and coach, because I was also a vocal coach at the time, and I coached a lot of the acts that came through his doors that were recording. So I came to meet her and to coach her a little bit, and then and she was a delight. She's just such a doll, a sweetheart. And couple of weeks, and I worked with her for a couple of weeks, and then I get a call to come sing background on Two of Hearts, which, you know, is...
That's her smash
that's
hit
her,
song.
That's her song,
been,
and you can't go anywhere on this planet where people don't know about that song.
Still young people today. You know, I'm only 20 years old. You know, I had the pleasure of
Yeah.
interviewing with some of my friends my same age who were like, oh my God, I love that song for so many years, which I just thought was amazing.
Great song for her. So that's how I met her, was working for John St. James. And John St. James, that's where I got into radio and station ID work, because I did all the station IDs for all the LA rock stations, KMET and KLOS, KROQ. Doing KMET is a place to be for music on your radio. So I have to make one for you.
Yeah, you're going to definitely need to make...
I have to do an urban soul radio station ID for you.
Definitely. More radio stations need that kind of introductions nowadays.
But yeah, we used to have, you know, we would do sound-alikes, and we did a lot of TV work together, and so that's how that all started.
And you've, you know, as well as your music, you've done lots of voiceover work. You started at a young age doing radio commercial jingles, right? I did. Pardon me. I did children's voices. I did children's commercials. I was the voice of Polly Pocket. Polly Pocket. Hi, I'm Polly Pocket. And I sang about my rockin' pizza parlor. That must have been a lot of fun back then.
It was fun. It was fun. My very first commercial, believe it or not, though, was when I was very small, doing the Oscar Mayer Wiener.
Now,
that was pretty fun.
How did you start into voiceover work? Did someone just discover you at a young age, or how'd that happen?
Well, when I was, it was kind of by accident. Actually, it's a funny story too. My sister and I used to listen to KHJ with Sam Riddle and the Real Don Steele and who were the other guys there? There were some great DJs at that station. Charlie Tuna. It was Charlie Tuna, Sam Riddle, Real Don Steele, and we called in for the KHJ Christmas Wish. You know, if you called in and asked for a gift for yourself or someone, so we called, and our mom was in the kitchen cursing one day because she had one of those old hand crank can openers. And it had worn down and it wasn't opening the can anymore. So we wanted to call and make our Christmas wish for an electric can opener for Mom. So we got a call that we'd won the can opener. Then we had to go to the station. So my dad drove us down to Hollywood to go to the station and meet the DJs and get our can opener, and then we had to do a little voice clip. So my sister and I began to talk, and my sister got a little nervous, and I was kind of Miss Thing here. I was like, my name is Jeri Lynne, and my Christmas wish for my mom is for electric can opener. And they said, I said, electric can opener. I tripped over my own tongue trying to say can opener. And they laughed hysterically. And then later on, I got a call later on about doing some kids' voices, and that's how that started. Well,
that's a great start with a job, just, random call of someone
like,
discovering,
wow, really?
Seeing potential in something and
so, yeah,
going with it.
And later on when I had my son, he had a great child voice that translated on tape really well. So I actually got him involved in studio work too when he was little. He's probably going to shoot me for saying this, but but he did children's songs, and we brought in a group of kids because I'm also a teacher during the day, and I had all these little kids in there singing these children's songs and jingles, and it brought me back to like, wow, I remember doing this. So yeah, so it was a fun education at an early age.
It must be great to see it passing on to your children. And
yeah. I mean, it was short lived because he's a musician and a music lover, by passion but not by trade. But he's an IT genius, thank God.
I must help around the house a lot.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And aside from the radio voiceover work, you were also a featured voice on many popular TV shows, such as The Golden Girls, Remington Steele, Murphy Brown, and so many others.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was awesome. I would get the, it was sound-alikes mainly. You know, they would want me to do, or they'd say, we need you to do a little soulful run, and there's a scene in the diner where the jukebox is playing, and we need you to sound like Aretha, or we need you to, you know, so that, or, you know, whatever the scene called for. So I would get the music in advance, and I'd have to study it to try to emulate that singer. And so pretty soon, I mean, I was working all the time, you know, because I was a really quick study, and I was good at impersonating voices. I got so good at it for a while, I didn't know what my own voice sounded like. So it was a challenge when I decided to go the other direction, you know, when I started recording for myself, because I thought, well, who am I?
Find out who you are again.
Who am I? What do I sound like? So, yeah.
I mean, God, I just love the Golden Girls. Did you ever watch back at episodes and see where your voice was laid in?
I do. I go on, you know, I watch these shows on my TV and Hulu, and you know, I'll go on YouTube and watch like the what was the show I was just watching the other day, Designing Women, because I loved Meshack Taylor. He was, you know, he had just passed recently, and so I just thought I'm gonna revisit some of those shows. And so yeah, and then I went on to Golden Girls, and I actually found one of the clips that I sang on. I was like, oh my God, how about that?
I must have seen every episode 100 times, so I'm sure I've ran over your voice there somewhere without knowing it.
Most
definitely
likely.
Gonna have to go back and watch
most
them all again.
Most likely. One of my favorites was the Murphy Brown episode where she was trying to do Respect, Aretha Franklin, and it's actually me in the recording in the background that she's dancing and trying to sing along to.
Must have been a lot of fun back then.
It was back when my voice was higher.
Well, you still sound amazing as we heard the live performance there.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Way back in time to the very, very beginning. How'd you start in music as a child?
Well, I started playing the piano at age 5, and I studied with, believe it or not, a bass player that my family had brought to the house to teach me to play piano. His name was Stuart Calhoun. He played an upright bass, but he was a great piano teacher. And he drove a little DKW, I think it was, one of those. It looked like, you know, in our terms, an early smart car, a little bitty, with a roof that slid open, and the bass would have to stick out the top of the. So he would come over on the way to the gig to teach me piano, and I'd see him coming with that bass sticking out the top of the car. But and then the older I got, I started playing guitar in high school. At that time of my life, it was all you know, Joni Mitchell and Laura Nyro and Elton John. So all the piano artists was where I sunk my teeth in, and that's where it all started. Was there.
It must be amazing, you know, going through your career, getting to work with a lot of your early inspirations, as I'm sure you did.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've never met Joni Mitchell personally or Laura Nyro, but I am friends with the Nyro family. Coincidentally, I had recorded a couple Laura Nyro songs and put them out there on YouTube, and I got an email from a gentleman saying, "You don't know me, but I just wanted to tell you I have really enjoyed your Laura Nyro cut," and la da 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 da, and then he signed his name. Nigro, which is actually the surname of Laura Nyro's family. And I had just finished reading Michelle Court's book because I was doing research, because I'm actually getting ready to do a Laura Nyro tribute. And I went, I wonder if he's related. So I wrote him back and asked, and turns out that he was related. And so we've started a friendship, and so I'm part of the Laura Nyro community now. But Laura Nyro was like it for me. That was probably one of my biggest influences, her and Joni Mitchell.
It must be really nice to hear feedback from the actual family about your cover of his song.
I was beside myself. I was so honored. I was absolutely honored.
Such a small world out there too.
It is, and you know, just when you think it's a big world, you can be clear across the world and meet somebody you know, or you worked with, or they worked with, or they know you, or they know your friends. It's pretty amazing. Well, I realized that I worked with your father.
Yeah, that's a really amazing story.
Just
My father,
recently.
Justin Nylander, so
yeah.
That's real cool. I didn't know that even when I booked the interview.
I know,
cool
right?
To find out. Small world.
See, you never know. You never know till you open the dialogue with somebody.
And you do great covers of people's work also, but I love your originals too. How do you, when you sit down and write a song, what's your secret, so to speak?
Well, there's no secret really. It's a matter of repetition. For me, my experience anyway is that I've written since I was little girl, and I write every day. I write all the time. I've placed notebooks all over the house, because wherever I am, sometimes something will come to you and you want to write it down, or I carry my iPhone and my iPad and I hit that voice memo constantly. Oh, how about this for a hook? I talk to myself, or I'll be driving down the road and something will come to me, so I record it. And I actually gotten a lot of great songs from driving down the road. I used to drive to San Diego every summer and work in Del Mar at a restaurant by the racetrack. And I wrote more songs in that 2.5-hour drive. So, that's it. Sometimes I'll get the lyrics first, or sometimes I'll get a melody first, or sometimes I'll get a chord structure. Oh, I like that. Oh, let's do this.
Most people just doze off in the car. You're writing masterpieces.
Oh yeah, I used to tear down at midnight on a Saturday night, and by the time I got my gear loaded up, it was 1:00, and then I'm hitting the road, and you're a little tired from pounding away for 4 hours, and then something would come to me, and then I'd get energized. So plus I have, on my iPad, I have the piano, the piano. Yeah. So I would pull that up. I'd be driving and I'd plunk out a couple notes while I'm driving. And
just such a natural talent.
You use every aspect you can.
You never know when inspiration's just going to
Well, exactly. Stuff, when it comes, it comes. And I can't count the times something came to me and was really great, and I'll be darned if I can remember it the next day.
I hate when that happens, and then you just always wonder what if.
Well, yeah, because years ago we didn't have this access, and now it's like every single thing we own it can practically write the song itself for you. So,
and being in the industry for over 40 years, I'm sure must have experienced so many different changes with the technology industry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what we can do now is incredible. I can multi-track on my iPad. I'll put the piano part, and then I'll do all the background vocals, and then I'll do my lead vocal, and it's amazing what you can do. As I'm an MD for a church out in the desert, and I use that tool for my singers. I'll go, hey, we're going to do this cool old cover tune, but we're going to change the lyrics to be a little more spiritual. So we'll do, hold on, I'm coming. Hold on. In this case, we would say, hold on, God's coming. Hold on, 'cause God's coming. Then I put the alto part, then I put the soprano part, then I put the tenor's part, and then I just, off it goes.
Soul prayer is the words I would use to describe that as.
Yeah, my life is a soul prayer. It is. I've been so blessed to have, this gift, and yeah, when it comes, you have to take it. It's your obligation.
And you do it so love all your music. Do you mind if we play one of your songs on here?
Oh no, not at all.
Here's "They Cannot Hurt Us Anymore" by Jeri Lynne, right here on Saturday Slow Jams on Urban Soul Radio, where we're redefining what you used to with me, Chorus Nylander, up till 2:30.
Wounds open wide, feel the pain all over. Years tossed aside like they never were here, a prisoner of the past, haunted by a memory, walking free at last. They cannot hurt darkened shadows run far away. Recognize why you're here, abandoned in the night, a victim of their legacy, reaching for the light. They cannot hurt us anymore. Wings open wide, take us far away from this pain and denial. Leave behind all your fears. Run as far as you can. Your suffering is over now. Wash the shame from your hands. They cannot hurt us anymore. Cannot hurt us anymore. Hurt us anymore. Us anymore.
That was They Cannot Hurt Us Anymore by the one and only Jeri Lynne. You're listening to Saturday Slow Jams on Urban Soul Radio with me, Chorus Nylander, taking you up till 2:30 with Jeri Lynne live in the studio right now. Jeri Lynne, I just love that song. I love all the songs of yours I've listened to, but that one I have to say is my favorite. What's the story behind it?
Well, it's just, well, first of all, thank you for playing the cut and rather than have me sing it. I hadn't prepared to do that song today, only because it's such an emotional song and it's sometimes difficult for me to play live, you know, because you have to dig down into a place where that comes from. But that song came to me in a dream, actually. A few years ago, that song came to me, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I went to the piano, and I started singing that, the "Cannot Hurt Us Anymore," and that just kept repeating and repeating and repeating in my head, and then the rest of the song came pieces at a time, but I never let anyone hear it. And when Miguel and I were working on that project, I said, you know, I'd like to run this one by you. And I hadn't planned to use this one because it was so personal. I just thought, And I sent him a piano demo of it with me singing it in my living room. And he said, oh, my God, this is a prayer. This song is a prayer. This is a soul prayer. And we both went, ah! Because we didn't have a title for the album yet. And that's when we decided that would be the name of the title, and it came from that song.
And it's a great title. It's exactly how I would be able to describe
well,
that music.
and what he did with it was beautiful, with the acoustic guitar and the cello, and it's just beautiful.
I agree. It's such a beautiful song. You can tell, you can feel it's coming from a very deep place inside the artist.
Yeah.
And you're such an amazing artist. You're also a teacher to many legendary people in the entertainment world, such as Whoopi Goldberg, Tony Basil, and so many others. I mean, you're teaching these people that are international superstars.
Well, this was long ago, but yeah, I've had some wonderful opportunities as a coach too. I worked with Whoopi during the Sister Act, and also I used to coach Tony Basil. And Tony was she's the famous choreographer to David Bowie, and but she did the song "Hey Mickey," right? The chant, "Oh Mickey,"
great song back then.
But she also, was a passionate singer, and she wanted to learn a craft. So we would work together in trade. She would teach me how to dance, and I would teach her how to sing. So when I went out on tour, everybody said, "Hey, you're moving pretty good." I said, "Well, yeah, I trained with Tony Basil, But I love teaching. Pardon me. I love teaching. It's whether it's one-on-one or with my children at school. I teach in an independent school in the desert, K through 5th grade music.
Do they understand the success you had in the industry, or are they a little too young to really realize
The older ones do. When my new record came out, Just For You, the kids were lined up at my door one day wanting to buy it and wanting an autograph, and I literally fell on the floor laughing. I thought, "Oh my God, this is hysterical." They were so cute. I was like, "You guys, it's just me. It's just Miss Jeri." And they go, "No, but we heard you on the radio. Are you signed my record?"
Oh, that's so adorable.
So, but the little ones, I'm always Miss Jeri to them.
That's really good. It's only one city in a small area, but you're influencing them to listen to this kind of really good music that not so many young kids get to hear these days.
Well, I hope so. And, anybody, the kids that take my classes, I drive them hard. It's not just about learning how to, count and to sing elementary school songs. I teach them theory. I teach them rhythmic notation. They learn how to read and write music. I teach them about the composers. I teach them about how music evolved from here to here. So I expose them to a lot. They get a...
Wow, at such a young age, you're going to grow up and be
they get a
incredible
handful.
musicians with that.
Well, yeah, I hope so. They better be.
And thank you for your service as a teacher. I think it's one of the greatest careers in the world someone can do.
It's a joy. It's my joy.
When did you start teaching? How did you decide?
Well, I taught privately, coaching people. Probably it's been about 25 years or so. I hate to admit it, maybe even longer. And then I opened my own school. It was called the Vocal Network. When I started actually in Orange County, but then when I moved to the desert, I opened a school out there. And that was just training, vocal coach and training singers to prepare for performance, to confidence on stage, diction.
And you did that at the Formula One studios too.
I did that for John for many years. All the artists that came through his doors, yeah. And then eventually, I was contacted to teach in a private school, which I refused to do. To me, it just wasn't where I felt I belonged. They were taking so much away at that point, and I thought, well, I'll be out of a job next year because you're going to do away with music. So I turned that down. But then I got an offer from this independent school that really focuses on the arts, and we're talking music, theater, band. Languages, art, everything, and I thought, but at first I thought, oh, do I really want to teach? And then I shied away from it, and they kept calling, and finally I went down and interviewed, and I loved them, and they loved me, and it's been 10 years now. So
wow, they're lucky to have you. You're a very talented musician.
Thank you.
I love schools that do that to focus on the arts.
Well,
It's a
yeah.
shame public schools now and even many private schools just aren't even paying attention to arts at all.
It's so true, and it's so sad because really music is it's a universal language, and you know when you hear stories about what music has done for people, you know, how can you say it's not worth it? How can you say it's not worthy of having?
I think it builds character in a person too, and
it teaches people a lot. It really does.
there's nothing else like it. And do you feel, you know, in the pop music nowadays is, in my opinion, has gone downhill incredibly since like the old artists you've gotten to work with, like Michael McDonald?
Well, Chorus, this is a whole nother interview. I don't know. There's a lot out there. There's so much access now. There's just so many different, there's so many artists and there's so many, but, in terms of, there's a lot of great artists out there, and there's a lot of artists that are, I think, probably in it just for the money, and I don't find that it's real cohesive or what's the word I'm looking for? It's just not. It's not something that I really can sink my teeth into. I mean, there's the party generation where basically to me it sounds like a giant vamp. And we were talking about this earlier, how it doesn't even fit together. There's not real. A lot of times there's not even real musicians. It's a sequence or it's a loop.
And a lot of the times the artists making millions off the records don't even understand theory of music or the stuff that goes into it.
Well, in this technological age, they don't need to. If you know how to loop, if you know how to, if you can work GarageBand, I mean, more records are made in somebody's bedroom today and sold out of the trunk of their car, and that's their education. But we come from a different time where our education was in the nightclubs 5-6 nights a week, in the trenches.
And
5 hours a night.
Technology, so you had to force yourself to be really good.
It was live playing, baby. It was live playing.
So I think the technology has kind of built a generation of very lazy composers.
Well, I wouldn't say lazy. I mean, I've seen, in some cases, I'm sure, but I mean, I've also heard a lot of great stuff too. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, the digital era of recording is an amazing thing. And
there are a lot of amazing modern day artists like Sam Smith.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a great singer.
There are great music being made.
Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of great, talented artists out there. Great singers, great bands. But there's also a lot of junk. The negative spewing stuff, I just really don't even want to partake in on any level.
And do you see, is it just going to keep going downhill, or do you think this great music, which is being made today, is going to start being more listened to on the mainstream side?
Chorus, I think it's a huge responsibility of the artist to think of it in terms of betterment and play. First of all, more positive messages. If that's your calling to do. But a lot of stuff where it's negative connotations and cursing and degradation of human beings, that's not doing anything for us or for the planet.
I definitely feel love needs to be more.
Well, yeah,
a message more than hate nowadays.
We need a universal message of, all right, frankly, I'm sick and tired of hearing what's wrong. Tell me what's right. Let's hear what's right. So let's make some music from that aspect. But the other thing is too, guys like you, it's on you to educate the listener as well. So dig deep, man. Get back into that great stuff that we grew up on and pump that out there.
Definitely, and I'm so happy to have Jeri Lynne. I mean, you're an amazing artist. I look up to you so much.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you. No, I look up to you. You're the.
Thanks, so. I am very tall, so
you are very tall, and I'm very small, so we're very cute together.
And what advice could you give to young up and coming artists that want to make it in the music industry?
Don't ever give up on your dream. You know what? If you dream it, if you can see it, you can achieve it. You can be it. You can do it. Just don't ever let anyone tell you you can't. Don't ever, talk yourself out of it. It's you can have it. If you're willing to be open with yourself and allow it to come through, you can have it. You can be it. You can do it all. I mean, when I think of what I've done in my life, I'm amazed. I'm tired, but I've been really blessed and been able to do a lot of different things with a lot of different people. So, but I always believed I could, even when people told me I was crazy. I go, yeah, right, sure, and I just keep barreling through and I just keep going. So it's possible.
And who are your biggest supporters when you were starting out that kept supporting you and pushing you forward?
Oh gosh, well, we had an Uncle Dave. I think every family has an Uncle Dave, right?
I wish I had an Uncle Dave.
I had an Uncle Dave, not in the familial sense, but he was a dear friend of the family, and so we called him Uncle Dave. But he came from Oklahoma, and he was a marvelous piano player, and he was young, and he came to LA to make it big. And those were his words. I came to Hollywood to make it big, and big he did. He reminded me of you. He was 6'8", and had the most marvelous laugh, but the most gifted piano player I ever heard. And he stayed with us for a while, and we had a baby grand piano, and he would sit down and play, and I used to just come and sit on the bench with him and just stare up at him like, he's a genius, And he was backing up people like Petula Clark, and he eventually landed the job on the Carol Burnett show as the pianist. And he used to he would practice the songs, and I was like a little whiz kid with memorization. When I'd hear a song on the radio, and a couple of times I would have it. So I used to sneak in and I'd go, when you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. And he'd look at me and I go, can I please sing with you? So whatever he was working on, he'd always let me sing. But he encouraged me. He encouraged me so much. And so I think that was where my first earliest encouragement came from, was Uncle Dave.
And were you born in California? Or
I'm a native Californian.
Native California.
Inglewood, California.
Oh, Inglewood, not
right
too
near the
far away
racetrack.
Nothing like California. It's a beautiful
All right.
place here, especially for music. Let's hear another one of your tracks that I really just love off your Just For You album, featuring Eric Marienthal. Here's Baby by Jeri Lynne. Right here on Saturday, Slow Jams with me, Chorus Nylander, on Urban Soul Radio, where we're redefining what you're used to.
Baby. Say
Ooh, baby, that was really
baby.
good.
Ooh, baby.
That was Baby right there by Jeri Lynne featuring
Say
once
it again.
Ooh, baby, featuring Eric Marenthal. Love Eric, love you. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
Now,
Oh.
tell us the story behind that song. 'Cause
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
well,
boy.
I'm a huge Al Green fan. I love Al Green, and this song. When I wrote this song, I had an Al Green kind of vibe in mind, you know. And when we went in the studio to do this, I asked my drummer, "How do you get that Al Green sound?" And he goes, "Well, first you take your snare drum and you tune it down. Then you take your wallet and you duct tape it to the snare head." and it went boom, and I went ooh, and then he did the floor tom at the same time. I go ooh, I get it. But yeah, that song actually, that song's been with me for a little while, and it's been a couple different versions of it, but this is the final one. And plus, it was influenced, by all the great Stax and Motown artists that I grew up listening to. You know, just that.
Definitely has that sound.
Yeah,
perfectly.
I don't know if you caught the little Carla Thomas thing I stole at the end where it goes, B-A-B-Y, baby. Carla and Rufus Thomas did a great song called Baby, oh, baby. Anyway, but yeah, that song came from my influence from that world.
It was such a great song.
Thanks. Oh, and
so
Eric
grateful
was
to-
just
Eric
the
is-
bomb.
and you do a lot of work with him. I can understand why, because
Oh, yeah,
why not?
You know, we went to school together. We kind of grew up together down in the Orange County area. You know, junior college, and we, stayed in touch through the years. I followed his career when he was with Chick Corea, and he's just incredible. And he just gets better and better and better. And every couple of years, I call him and go, "Hey, I got a couple tunes I'd like you to play on." And he still comes down and plays, and he's just amazing.
He's my idol and friend, and I love him. And you and me are going to go see him tonight over at
Yes.
Spots. It's going to be a great show.
Yes.
If you haven't got your tickets yet, I'm sure there's still tickets available. I'm not too sure, but you definitely should go on the Spogatini website and look, because that's a show you don't want to miss tonight, right over in Seal Beach. I want to hear another one of your tracks here, because I just love your music and
Thank
have
you
you there
so
to listen to
much.
it. Here's All I Can Do by Jeri Lynne right here on Urban Soul Radio with me, Chorus Nylander.
All I can do is pretend that I don't love you when I do. All I can say is I'll have my feelings till they go away, fade away.
was All I Can Do by the amazing Jeri Lynne, who's joining me right here in the studio on Saturday Slow Jams. That's from her album Just For You, a tribute to the late, great George Duke. And that's actually from a label abroad, right?
Yeah, in Switzerland. I signed with a label called Nero Music, Nero Sounds Music in around Switzerland. And I have, in the 90s, I'd done a project in LA at the Conway Studio with a producer named Urs Wiesendanger. And he was this amazing prodigy guy. He sat down and played anything and anyone, not reading, not writing, just an amazing guy. And I got brought in to do a song that Vonda Shepard was scheduled to do with the late Warren Wiebe. And she couldn't make it. And so Warren and I had just recorded one of my songs the night before in the studio. So he ran out to his car and he took the cassette tape and he goes, "Oh, you have to hear this girl. You have to hear, you should call her." And Warren at this point is doing all the demos for David Foster. And, he's really got a lot going on. And I was just honored. And so they called me and I went down and I did the song and I met with Urs and then we reconnected just a few years ago, and then the orchestrator on that date was a gentleman named Wolfgang Drexler, who is an amazing orchestrator, live strings from the Zurich Symphony, just amazing talent. And we started talking, and pretty soon, all the friends are chiming in. You know how Facebook is. It's like you meet one, then you meet 30. So, then I met Robin Heitzman and Nick, and they were the owners of the label, and they started talking to me, and I was sending them some things a little at a time, and then I think we started talking in, I don't know, maybe March or April, something like that. Next thing I knew, I'm on a plane. In August, in May, my ticket was in my hand. I had the ticket in my hand to go to Switzerland, and I went over there and met with them, and we did a great photo shoot up in the Alps. I was, fear of heights, turning white. I was whiter than the snow, I'm sure, but they made it very easy and comfortable for me. We did a great photo shoot. Robin is a phenomenal photographer, Sir Robin, we call him, Sir Robin Photography. And then I did a little recording there. Some upcoming surprises coming later that we'll be sharing with you. But they were wonderful people. I spent about 8 days there. Went into Power Play Studios, where a lot of great Sting recorded there, and that's where Urs does a lot of producing. And it was a really, really fruitful trip. And then I said, okay. And then I said, I'm going to go home and think about it. And I went home and I, thought about it. And then come January, I was signed on the label. So
Do you have to go to Switzerland a lot now? Because you're signed, or
no, dear. Well, you know how we are in cyberspace here. I can record the tracks here, send the stems there. I can send my vocal over there if we're going to do a duet, whatever. I mean, I of course would love to be there first priority, but sometimes it's not a possibility, especially my teaching schedule or my music director schedule. So. It's great that we have that
the modern
that
technology
ability
to be able
to do
connect
that.
Internationally now.
But my first choice, to get on a plane and go. It's Switzerland. How can you not
beautiful
go?
Over there.
It's fabulous.
Do you have a following outside of the United States?
I do. Just For You is playing all over Europe right now. It's in Germany. It's in France, and we just opened a branch of Nero Music in France as well. And it's in Australia. I hear it's in the UK. It's in Turkey. Wow. It's making its way. It's playing in a few states now. It's kind of creeping back to the States, in the town where I live in, and I'm in Rancho Mirage in the Palm Springs area, out in the desert. Our local jazz station, KJJZ, is Jimmy Fitz is our local jazz
Great guy.
DJ, and he's such a great supporter of mine. He's such a sweetheart, and he plays my stuff every day religiously on his show. And I'm so blessed. I have a great support system between Switzerland and here, and you, and all these wonderful, DJs that I'm getting to meet. And
Well, it's my pleasure getting to play your music because it's really top-notch, world-class music.
thank you very much.
And what can we expect from your future work? Are you in the process of recording another album?
I am.
I can't wait for it.
But you're gonna have to wait.
Oh, man.
I am writing. I'm currently writing, and before too long, we're going to go back in. But I have a specific rhythm section I like to use, and they're on tour a lot. They're out with Crosby, Stills and Nash and a couple other people. So I have to wait for them to be done till I can get them. But it's worth the wait.
Do you have an expected release date, or it's still?
No. We're
We're
in the early stages right now of the, half of it's written and the other half we know is coming, right, universe?
Well, it's worth waiting for.
But I'm also looking for some fun covers to do.
Do you have a particular idea? Any cool ideas with like a theme of the album or anything like that, or is it a?
I don't know yet. It all kind of comes when it comes.
Well, I can't wait to see that.
Like I said, I didn't even have a title for this album until we got to the end, and that George Duke moment happened.
And everything happens for a reason.
And the same thing happened with Soul Prayer. I didn't have a title for that either until McGelly made that statement. There's your title.
Well, I can't wait to hear the finished product.
I actually had a different name for the Just For You. I won't tell you what it is. It's kind of silly, but yeah, this worked out to be the one. So
it's such a great album, and thank you so much for doing such a good representation for the memory of the late great George Duke.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Do you have any upcoming live shows people should look out for?
Not at this time. Right now, it's mainly studio time. But we're talking about some tour dates next year. So as soon as my guys get home, then I have to start rehearsing them, and you know how it goes.
Well, I can't wait to hear it, and I'm going to make sure to, when the time comes, let my audience know about it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And are you on social media for our listeners to go follow you?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. You can go to Facebook, Jeri Lynne Music, and you'll find me there. Or you can go to our Nero website, which is Nero, and that's Nero spelled Niro, neromusic.com, and I have my artist page there. And, if you're in Palm Springs, hey, give me a holler. I'm all over town.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, Jeri. It was such a pleasure getting to talk with you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was a great show. Thank you for playing live, and I'm going to make sure to keep
Absolutely.
playing your music on Saturday Slow Jams.
Thank you.
Well, it's that time again. It's 2:30, so I'm going to have to say goodbye to the audience out there, but I hope you enjoyed my interview here with Jeri Lynne. We're going to leave you with a smooth R&B hit by Tony Braxton with Why Should I Care. Thanks for listening to Saturday Slow Jams with me, Chorus Nylander, and have a great rest of your weekend.